They're buying 1.4 billion bullets. They've got drones and checkpoints going up everywhere. And more they admit it's for a civil unrest collapse. Max Keiser, who's been stunningly accurate in his prediction so far, unfortunately, is saying in the next, I don't know, how far away is April? 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 months. 6, 7 months, he sees it all imploding. And now they're in Fox News saying it looks like the Fed is going to go to QE3. But they've already done other forms of stimulus that cause inflation. Max, what happens when the corruption is so systemic? I mean, if we had crashes in 1929, not much of the economy was tied up in the market. What happens when everything's tied up in fraud if things go belly up?
Well, it's a good point, because back in the 20s and 30s, you still had a very big farming component in the U.S. economy, and even during the Depression, there was enough family farms in America. People could eat to some degree. That's not so anymore. You have the big industrial farming, the Monsanto and farming, the huge conglomerate farming. You don't really have the small farms anymore. So when the thing blows up, there's no recourse. There's nowhere to go back. I'll make another prediction for 2013. You keep asking me, is there any way to stop it? And I say, no, there's no way to stop this, because systems analysis tells me that when you complicate a system to the degree that this has been compromised and complicated, there's a 99.9% probability of a total, utter systemic collapse before April, and that's my thought. Now, following up on that, there is only one possible outcome as a result of that, and that's civil war. There's got to be a civil war. It's going to be a civil war in America, intergenerational. All the people under 30 are going to go to war with everybody who's 45 plus, who basically stole all their money, stole their country, stole their wealth, destroyed the arability and the viability of the soil, and that will be the civil war. There's only, if you have one, you're going to have the other, and that would come in 2013.
Max, I'm so speechless. I've got to interject something here. This is shaking me right now, because I know you wouldn't just say this and put your credibility on the line. You're really sure of this, and I hope you're wrong. That's all I can say.
Well, I'm putting my flag, planting my flag on this one, as I have done before with predictions previously. And there's no avoiding the collapse. There's no remedy to the collapse. The underlying chaos is too great. 86% of all the trades in the New York Stock Exchange are computer to computer. That's true of exchanges all over the world. The algorithms that support all this trading are funded with 0% interest rates from the Fed. They can borrow money at zero. They can do anything they want with any amount of money that they want. If they ever make a mistake, they get bailed out with more free money from the feds, and they keep adding layer and layer and layer of problems onto the system. We already had the flash crash in 2010. We had the entire evisceration of Knight Capital just a couple of weeks ago, $440 million in 45 minutes due to a spastic computer program.
Well, I mean, here's why you may be right. I mean, undoubtedly, it's all a giant fraud and waiting to blow up, Max. But why are the Chinese pulling out of the U.S. stock market?
They're buying gold. They're buying this is going to be another surprise announcement, Gallup. They're going to come out before the end of the year and say that their gold holdings are not at roughly 1,000 tons, but they're closer to 2,000 tons. They may even be up toward 3,000 tons, which would put them right up with Germany. Number 2 biggest concentration of gold in the world is Germany with 3,000 tons, and then the U.S. with 8,000 tons. China, big surprise announcement coming this year. They're either going to probably double their gold to 2,000 tons. It'll shock the world. It'll put a whole nother wave of buying pressure on gold, which we still see is going to continue its climb to $5,000, $6,000, $7,000 an ounce. And China is a big part of that. As you mentioned, Soros is now back in gold in a big way. John Paulson, one of the biggest hedge fund managers in the world, is now 44% of his fund is entirely in gold bullion. That's billions of dollars. The hedge funds, the smart money, is always the first mover, and they get in there first. They know what's coming. They see the collapse. A lot of other hedge funds are closing business because the system is too chaotic. There's too treacherous out there. Funds are just pulling the plug.
Well, yeah. Well, I mean, that's what the Chinese said. They said Monday, I mean, of course, you just mentioned it earlier, they said this system doesn't work. It's not real. In fact, I had the article. I forget their exact statement, but we'll try to find it during the break, but they were like, this system is no longer, we can't gauge this. They basically said it wasn't real. Exactly what you're saying, Max.
Yeah, I know. They listen to my show.
Well, they listen to reality, I'm sure, and they probably do listen to you. We'll be right back with